have no idea how you expect to think you gonna be the strongest ever competing with somebody who don't make excuses. They show up every day, and even if it's the bare minimum, you doing something, right? You further than the person who talking about it still. They still talking about what they gonna do this year. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you are where you are in the world right now because I'm here and you're there, and I don't see you here. Anyway, we continue the mission of becoming the strongest ever. It's your boy, Captain Squeeze, the Calisthenics powerhouse, and it's time to really lay out that game plan. All right, first thing first, before we get into this secret game plan, we got to understand the goal we're aiming for, and we're not going to do everything at once. The goal is to be well-rounded in various disciplines of fitness, right? And we have to be specific. We can't just say we want to do more pull-ups. What does that mean? Now, I don't want to get too scientific and everything. I do want y'all to just get to the work, but the difference between what you've been doing and what you're going to be doing now is the detail. Right? We're going to be collecting data. We're going to be very specific and intentional about what we're doing. And that's going to allow you to possibly become the strongest ever, like your boy, Captain Squeeze. So like I said, I am laying out the game plan, the blueprint, and there's no way for you to fail. The strongest of the strong, your boy, Captain Squeeze. I'm giving you the blueprint. We're going to be walking through all of this, starting with the 3 phases of this challenge. Right? The 3 phases: phase 1, endurance and foundation building; phase 2, strength and hypertrophy; phase 3, power and explosiveness. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but I'm telling you, only the strong will survive. And we're going to start with the breakdown. So the goal of this challenge is to really make it so simple that you can't fail, right? If you add so many moving parts, you're simply not going to stick to it. So ultimately, phase 1 is endurance and foundation building. That is the purpose of this phase, and that will last approximately 4 to 6 weeks. So let's just go over here in the Strongman Ting mind map, right? And the objective here is to build a resilient base, improve muscular endurance, and develop work capacity. Now, I'm not going to go into every single detail about that right now, but as we move into the next part, it's going to start to make more sense, right? So the key components of phase 1 is high volume, moderate load. So we want to focus on performing compound movements such as squats, pull-ups, push-ups, etc., right? But every workout that you see as far as the phase 1 is going to be compound movements. That's simple. And it might seem so simple that you're like, bro, this isn't going to work. Why am I going to do this? This is a waste of my time. Bro, trust me. I know what I'm talking about. After all, I am the strongest ever. Anyway, let's keep it pushing. So in this phase, you're going to see short rest periods. It's very important to keep this in mind, especially since it's going to be moderate load, right? We're not going to be doing short rest periods if we're lifting a ton of weight, right? Your central nervous system has to reload. Let's keep it pushing here, right? So short rest periods, keep rest to 30 to 60 seconds to boost cardiovascular endurance and muscular stamina. Dynamic warm-ups and mobility. So like I said, this is a multifaceted journey, right? We're not just focusing on doing more pull-ups. We have to focus on a lot of different things, but not all at once in order to get the result of becoming the strongest ever. So incorporate dynamic stretches and mobility drills to prime the muscles and joints. Conditioning circuits. Mix in body weight exercises and light conditioning, burpees, kettlebell work for metabolic conditioning. So you will see a lot of kettlebell work, something I wasn't really too keen on doing before, but since I have incorporated kettlebell work, man, it is a game changer. And I'm almost upset that I didn't do it before because I'm like, oh, if I'm lifting any weights, then I can't call myself a calisthenics athlete. But let me tell you, once you master your body weight and start incorporating things like kettlebell work and, things like that, the strength gains that you accomplish, the conditioning, the stamina, and you become unbeatable. this is the part you're probably going to be a little bit excited about. But remember, each thing has to be done in its sequence. This is phase 2, strength and hypertrophy, and this will last you about 6 to 8 weeks. So let's go ahead and jump over to the objective. And the objective here is to transition from endurance to building solid foundational strength and muscle mass, which your boy Captain Squeeze happens to know a little something about. Right, so let's talk about the key components. So the key components, progressive overload, use heavier loads with lower reps, 4 to 8 reps per set on compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, bench press to stress the muscles. So yes, you might see these things here. Trust me, they will have their relevance. We're trying to become the strongest ever. We're not trying to, stick ourselves in one lane, and you will be seeing things like this. Trust me, your boy knows what he's doing. Well, we're going to find out by the end of this, right? So anyway, longer rest periods allow 2 to 3 minutes between sets to recover fully for maximal force output. Big one right here. Accessory work, add targeted exercises, rows, overhead presses, core stability, work to address any weaknesses. Now, keep in mind, during the videos that you're going to see, the workouts that you're going to see during this quote unquote challenge, right? Some of these exercises you're gonna see me perform for like the first time, right? But this kind of goes to show when you follow a structure, a format, years of training, you don't really struggle as it relates to actually getting into these exercises. But once you add these in addition to like doing body weight at a high level, you see how much stronger you become, and that's why we are calling this challenge the strongest ever challenge. So technique focus, emphasize proper form and controlled movement to reduce injury risk while maximizing gains. And last but not least, which this is one of my favorite, because once you take a deload week, incorporate recovery week if needed. It is needed. I don't know why I put if needed, but sometimes the time that you actually put the deload week might not necessarily be the optimal time, right? But no matter what, you're going to need a recovery week, a deload week. And when you do that deload week, I promise you, it's almost going to be like magic how much your strength gains exponentially, right? So if needed, to allow your body to adapt before moving on to more explosive work. Yeah, I'm liking this. So the thing about the fitness game in general, you can't wing it, right? You can't think that you're going to show up to each workout and not know what you're going to do and try and figure it out and think you're going to be consistent. That absolutely won't work. Take it from me, it will not work. You might see some momentum for a week or two, but long term, you're not going to see it, right? So that's the purpose of actually putting together this 30-day challenge, is to have an infrastructure that will allow you to get the idea, like really understand how to create efficiency, consistency through these type of properly structured routines, right? And that's why we're laying out the strongman ting blueprint mind map, right? It gives you that broad view of understanding, okay, each phase focuses on very specific things, and you understand how to create routines that facilitate that goal for that specific phase, right? So as we move into the breakdown for the last phase, let's keep that in mind. It's like, even if you're not following a program for somebody else, a YouTuber, a coach, anybody, you know how to put this together based off of what you're seeing here, right? Anytime a program follows those protocols that you see in each phase, you have a proper structured program that will, like, it's inevitable that you will level up, right? So I want you to keep that in mind. And in the comment section below, tell me, have you ever followed a specific, like what you're seeing here, a specific workout structure, and what was the results like if you did follow it? And if you haven't, while we're going through this, tell me the anticipation that you think the results will look like by following this structured program, right? So let's check it out over here. So let's take a closer look here. We're moving into phase 3, which is power and explosiveness, and this will last you 4 to 6 weeks. Now, quite frankly, this is like my favorite style of training, power and explosiveness, because if you want that show and go muscle, as you get stronger, you want to put like a little bit more focus in the power and explosive department, right? So let's move into the objective of the phase 3. Convert raw strength into explosive power, which is key for athletic performance and overall strength. So once again, like I said, you want to develop that show and go muscle where it looks like you work out and you can actually perform. As you become more seasoned in your fitness journey, you want to really evolve the training protocol for the strength and the explosive department. Right, in that department, you want to really develop that structure. So throughout this, this little challenge here, this snippet of what's to come for the lifetime of your journey, you're going to see how I incorporate explosiveness and power into the training, right? So let's go ahead and talk about the key components, and then we're gonna bring it all home and wrap this up. And then the next thing that you will see from here, like after the video, we're getting into the actual work, right? So key components, explosive movements. So we want to introduce things like Olympic lifts, and this is like I'm teaching you guys what I'm doing myself. Like things like this is not something that I was accustomed to doing before, but because of me wanting to evolve, like I've done everything I needed to do with calisthenics. So I'm like, how can I really take this to the next level? Doing things like this, some of the strongest people on the planet, obviously you see them in the Olympics. So I'm taking a page from their book. I'm like, what does their training look like? Right. But we're also looking for longevity. So we're not trying to push ourselves to break down our bodies and not wear. And right now, as the shooting of the video, I injured my shoulder. It's unrelated to working out, but it's been like going on 2 months. So I have not done really any form of heavy and well, really any form of working out for the past 2 months because I want my shoulder to recover. And I'm doing like the protocols of doing the band work and stuff like that. Right. But anyway, introduce Olympic lifts, clean, snatches, and plyometric exercises like jump squats, box jumps, with emphasis on speed and technique, which you're gonna see how that incorporates and how we involve that into this challenge. Low rep, high intensity. Focus on 3 to 5 reps per set, ensuring each rep is performed with maximum intent and proper form. So you see, not a lot of reps whatsoever. Sometimes even less than 3 to 5, right? If you're really pushing it, it could be 1 to 2, right? So now dynamic warm-ups. This is super, 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 super important. If you take nothing else from this, take this part. Dynamic warm-ups prioritize activation drills and dynamic stretches to prepare your nervous system for explosive movements. As it relates to explosive and strength training, this is the most important part right here. Nothing is more important than dynamic warm-ups. And if you want to gamble as a CIO, maybe it's not that important. You'll be gambling if you attempt to do these type of trainings without dynamic warm-ups, right? And now recovery and technique refinement. Ensure ample recovery between sessions and consider using video analysis to fine-tune your form. You've heard me mention this for years about like record your workouts, understand like, okay, let understand what I'm looking at before I critique my workout. I mean, my exercise technique and whatnot. And if you have someone who you trust, a coach, a certified coach, send them that video and let them break down, give you feedback based off of that. Right. So let's not take too long here. Let's go ahead and put it all together. Let's wrap this up. Right. So periodization. Think of your training as a journey where each phase builds upon the last. Super important there. You start with a strong endurance and mobility foundation, layer on solid strength, and finally refine into explosive power. Transition and adaptation. Allow brief transition weeks between phases if needed, and always listen to your body. Always listen to your body. Adjusting load, volume, or recovery protocols accordingly. So even if the program says, move up in the resistance or move up in the volume, if your body is telling you no, and this could take time, if you're new at this, you might not actually understand okay, what's my body telling me? Yeah, I'm super fatigued. Yeah, I feel like I'm drained, but the program says keep going. No, you have to understand what your body's saying, and you have to know when to scale back and when to move forward, right? So, holistic approach. Don't forget that nutrition, sleep, and recovery are essential for progress in each phase. Your your training game plan is just one part of the equation for becoming the strongest ever. So, that is basically it. I want to wrap it up with that. And we're gonna call it a day for this video. And before we, like I said, get it, the next set of stuff you're gonna see is just the work. But the nutrition, I just want to highlight on that real quick. If you really, really want to, like the workouts itself will get you progress for sure. But if you really want to emphasize your recovery, the strength gains that you're getting from each session, you must focus on nutrition. And nutrition doesn't necessarily mean like you have to be on a strict diet. You only got to eat 1 gram of this, 10 grams of that. That's not what it means, right? You just, if you are aware of how you're eating right now, take what's it called, a gauge of what your current meals look like, and there will always be something that you could adjust to improve the outcome that you're looking to achieve, which is here becoming the strongest ever. You're becoming the strongest you've ever been. So if you're doing the things that you've always done and you haven't been getting a different result, well, you can't keep doing that thing. You got to switch it up. So, like I said, I don't want to talk too much here. I kind of just want you guys to understand the gist of this. I will put this mind map as a download so you could always reference it and look back at it and all that stuff to see and understand, okay, where am I in the journey? Where am I in the phase? I will put a download. If not, like I said, hit me up on Instagram or even in the comment section below. But Instagram, that way, like I could send you links and all that stuff, and all that will be in the description below or in the comment section. But basically, that is it. It's really, this is the preparation. Preparation is super important as it relates to seeing long-term gains. You want to make a difference for your fitness game, for your life as you're going through this. And this could be something that gives you results you've never seen before. And quite frankly, it will if you actually follow it. So that's it for now. Enough yapping. Time to get that work. Time to get that squeeze. Health is wealth. Get money. Remember, follow me or stay weak. It's your boy, Captain Squeeze. We're out of here.